Welcome back to the channel. Rarest Coins, your go-to source for coin collecting, hidden treasures, and everything numismatics. In today's video, we're putting the spotlight on a coin that has generated a ton of buzz online, the 1965 Washington Quarter Dollar. There are claims floating around that this coin, under the right circumstances, could be worth an incredible $1.8 million. But is it true? Can a simple quarter from 1965 actually be worth millions? Or is this just another internet myth meant to draw attention? Stick with me as we explore the true history, the real market value, the rare versions, and whether your 1965 quarter could actually change your life. Let's begin with the history behind this iconic coin. The Washington Quarter was first minted in 1932 to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. It was originally made of 90% silver and 10% copper. From 1932 until 1964, every Washington quarter was struck in this silver composition. But everything changed in 1965. The United States Mint made a major decision that would redefine coinage as we know it. Due to rising silver prices and the increasing cost of minting coins, the Mint removed silver entirely from circulating quarters. Starting in 1965, Washington quarters were no longer made of silver. Instead, they were struck with a copper-nickel clad composition, essentially a sandwich of copper and nickel that still gave the coin a silvery appearance, but without the actual precious metal content. Now this is important. The 1965 quarter was the first year of this new clad design, and the transition wasn't entirely smooth. During this time, the Mint was also trying to phase out silver coins, but it had a huge backlog of silver planchets. These are the blank discs that coins are struck on. This led to one of the most fascinating and valuable errors in American coin history. That brings us to the mystery of the 1965 silver quarter. Although quarters dated 1965 were supposed to be struck on clad planchets, a small number of them were mistakenly struck on leftover 90% silver planchets from 1964. These rare silver 1965 quarters are the coins that make collectors' hearts race. They are extremely scarce and highly sought after. Now here's the big question. Could one of those rare silver quarters be worth $1.8 million? Let's be honest and get straight to the point. There is no verified, documented sale of a 1965 quarter for $1.8 million. However, that number likely comes from the extremely rare silver-era versions of the 1965 quarter that have sold for tens of thousands of dollars in certified auctions. It's not impossible that if a perfect condition, silver-struck, 1965 quarter were to surface, graded at the absolute highest levels, it could spark a bidding war and command a price well into six figures, or perhaps even approach the $1 million mark someday. But as of now, no such coin has sold for $1.8 million. So what is the real value of a 1965 quarter? Let's start with the most common type, the regular 1965 copper-nickel clad quarter. These were produced in massive numbers. In fact, the Mint struck over 1.8 billion quarters in 1965. That's right, billion with a B. These coins are incredibly common, and in circulated condition, they're still only worth 25 cents. Even if the coin is in very nice condition, it generally won't bring you more than a few bucks unless it is in exceptional mint state. Now let's talk about uncirculated examples that a 1965 quarter in mint state condition, such as MS65 or higher, could fetch $10 to $25. At MS66, the value might climb to $50 or $100. If you are lucky enough to have a coin graded MS67, you might be looking at $500 to $1,000, possibly more, depending on appeal and market demand. Now, if you have a 1965 quarter that appears to be silver, that's where things get very interesting. So how can you tell if your 1965 quarter is silver? Here are a few things to check. First, the edge of the coin. A regular clad 1965 quarter will show a distinct copper-colored line along the edge when viewed from the side. If your quarter appears to have a completely silver-colored edge with no copper showing, that could be a sign you're holding a rare silver planchet strike. Second, the sound test. A silver coin makes a much higher pitched ring when dropped on a hard surface compared to the duller sound of a clad coin. Third, weigh the coin. A standard clad 1965 quarter weighs 5.67 grams, while a silver quarter weighs about 6.25 grams. That difference is significant enough to identify a potential error. If your coin is closer to the 6.25 gram mark, you may have struck silver. If your 1965 quarter passes these tests, do not clean the coin and don't try to sell it yourself just yet. Instead, get it professionally graded and authenticated by a trusted coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. These organizations will evaluate your coin, certify it, and give it a grade that the market recognizes. A professionally graded coin carries much more value and trust in the collector world. Now, let's talk numbers again. A confirmed silver error 1965 quarter that has been authenticated by PCGS has sold for over $7,000 at auction. Other examples in top condition have fetched $12,000 to $16,000. And if a pristine silver quarter were found with no flaws, perfect luster, and top-tier grading, some experts believe it could potentially command $50,000 or more. So, while $1.8 million is extremely unlikely, a silver 1965 quarter could definitely be worth a life-changing amount of money for the average person. Let's sum it all up. The 1965 Washington quarter marked a major turning point in U.S. coin history, moving away from silver to clad coinage. Most 1965 quarters are common and worth only face value, but a tiny number were mistakenly struck on leftover silver planchets from the previous year. These silver error coins are the true hidden gems. While no coin has yet sold for $1.8 million, rare silver 1965 quarters have sold for thousands, and possibly more in the future. So check your change. Look through your old coin jars. Inspect that 1965 quarter you've been holding on to since childhood, because one small error could make all the difference. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful or interesting, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into rare coins, coin values, and the stories behind the currency in your pocket. Leave a comment below if you've ever found a rare coin or think you might have a valuable one. We'd love to hear your story. Until next time, stay curious, keep collecting, and always check your pocket change. You never know when history and value might be right at your fingertips. Let me know if you want a shorter version for social media or an adapted version for voiceover with scene suggestions and pacing. Welcome back to the channel where we uncover the stories, secrets, and sometimes shocking values behind the coins you use every day. Today, we're diving into a coin that has caught the attention of collectors, investors, and curious minds all over the internet. The 1987 D Washington quarter. There are viral claims going around saying that a rare version of this quarter has sold for an unbelievable $1.4 million. Yes, you heard that right. One coin, one quarter, 1.4 million. But is there any truth to that? Could you really have a fortune hiding in your pocket? Or is it all just hype and headlines? Let's separate fact from fiction and get into the full story of the 1987 D quarter, starting with its origin and history. The Washington quarter has been in circulation since 1932. It was originally created to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington and was only meant to be a one-year issue. But the design was so well received that it became the permanent design for the quarter for many decades. The obverse, or front, of the coin features a profile portrait of George Washington, created by sculptor John Flanagan. The reverse side carries the image of a bald eagle with wings spread, perched on a bundle of arrows, with olive branches beneath. This design remained unchanged until the state quarters program began in 1999. Now, let's move to the year in question. The year 1987. This was a standard year for quarter production. The U.S. Mint produced quarters at both the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint. The Denver Mint coins are the ones marked with a small letter D on the front of the coin, just to the right of Washington's ponytail. That D mint mark tells you the coin came from Denver. In 1987, the Denver Mint produced over 655 million Washington quarters. That's more than 500 million coins. So right off the bat, we know that the 1987 D quarter is not rare by mintage numbers alone. It was produced in massive quantities and circulated widely. That means finding one in pocket change today is not unusual at all. So where does the claim come from that this coin is worth over $1 million? The short answer is that it's not. There is no official record of any 1987 D quarter selling for $1.4 million at any recognized coin auction, through any professional dealer, or on any certified coin trading platform. What has happened is that online rumors, clickbait videos, and exaggerated listings have created a story that sounds too good to be true. And that's because it is. Some sellers list common coins on auction sites like eBay for outrageous prices in the hope that someone will bite. They might list a basic 1987 D quarter for thousands or even millions of dollars, but that doesn't mean the coin is worth that much. Anyone can list anything for any price. But the actual value of a coin comes from what someone is willing to pay for it, and what collectors and dealers have historically paid at reputable auctions. Now, let's talk about the real market value of a 1987 D quarter. In average circulated condition, a 1987 D quarter is worth exactly what it says on the face of the coin, 25 cents. It's a quarter, and that's what it spends for. However, if the coin is in uncirculated condition, meaning it was never used in commerce and has no visible wear, it can be worth a little more. A 1987 D quarter in mint state condition, graded MS60 to MS63, might sell for $1 to $3. If it's graded MS65 or higher, it might go for $5 to $15. In very high grades, such as MS67, the coin might be worth $100 or a little more, depending on eye appeal, luster, and the market. The rarest, top-graded examples of the 1987 D quarter, such as those graded MS68 or higher by services like PCGS or NGC, have sold for a few $100s at most. The highest recorded sale for a 1987 D quarter is under $1,000. Still a nice find, but not life-changing. So why do some quarters become valuable and others don't? There are a few key factors that determine a coin's value. First is rarity. The fewer of a certain coin that were made, the more valuable it can be. Second is condition. The higher the grade, the higher the value. Third is demand. If a coin is sought after by collectors, it can drive prices up. And finally, there's the wild card of mint errors. Mint errors can absolutely raise a coin's value. Things like off-center strikes, double dies, clipped planchets, and other striking mistakes can turn a regular coin into a highly collectible piece. If a 1987 D quarter has a major and dramatic error, it might sell for more than its face value. Some error coins have sold for several hundred or even a few $1,000s, depending on how rare and interesting the error is. But again, we have no confirmed reports of a 1987 D quarter with a verified error selling for anything close to $1.4 million. So, if you find a 1987 D quarter in your change, should you throw it away? Absolutely not. Every coin tells a story. And just because a coin isn't worth $1 million doesn't mean it isn't worth keeping. Especially if you're building a collection, teaching kids about money and history, or just enjoy the hobby of coin collecting. Tio summarized the facts. The 1987 D Washington quarter is a common coin with a very high mintage. In circulated condition, it's worth 25 cents. In uncirculated or high mint state grades, it might be worth a few dollars to a few $100s. Rare error coins from that year may be worth more, but none have reached anywhere near the $1.4 million mark. The viral claim is unfounded and likely based on misinformation or attention-seeking listings online. That said, coin collecting is about more than just dollar signs. It's about learning history, appreciating design, understanding value, and enjoying the thrill of discovery. Even a common coin can lead to a great story. Thanks for watching. If you found this video informative, give it a like and subscribe for more content just like this. Drop a comment below if you've ever found a rare coin, or if you've got a 1987 D quarter you're curious about. We're always here to help break down the facts and guide you through the fascinating world of numismatics. Until next time, keep collecting, keep learning, and always check your change. You never know what you might find. Let me know if you'd like a voiceover script version with pauses and emphasis cues, or if you want a short version for TikTok or YouTube Shorts. Welcome back to the channel, where we explore the fascinating world of coins, currency, and the hidden treasures you might already have sitting in your pocket. Today, we're taking a deep dive into the Washington quarter dollar from 1995, specifically the one minted in Denver, known as the 1995 D. There's been a lot of talk online claiming that one of these coins sold or is worth a staggering $1.3 million. But is it true? Is your 1995 D quarter secretly worth a fortune? Let's find out. First, let's talk history. The Washington quarter has been a staple of American currency since 1932. It was originally introduced to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The design we see on the quarter today, Washington's profile on the front, was created by John Flanagan. This design remained largely unchanged for decades and was used through the 1990s, including the 1995 D quarter we're talking about today. Now, the 1995 D quarter was produced at the Denver Mint. That's what the D stands for. In that year alone, the Denver Mint struck more than 1 billion Washington quarters. To be precise, over 1.1 billion coins were minted with the 1995 D stamp. That immediately tells us one thing. This coin is not rare. In fact, it's extremely common. You might even have one in your change jar right now. So why all the buzz about it being worth $1.30 million? Well, let's break that down. In recent years, some viral videos and blog posts have claimed that certain versions of the 1995 D quarter have sold for over $1 million, specifically one reported to be worth $1.3 million. But here's the truth. No verified coin auction house, no reputable grading service, and no professional numismatic database has ever recorded in 1995 D quarter selling for anywhere near that amount. The average 1995 D Washington quarter in circulated condition is worth exactly what it says on the face of the coin. 25 cents. That's it. If the coin is in better condition, what collectors call uncirculated or mint state, it might be worth more. For example, a 1995 D quarter in mint condition graded MS65 might fetch anywhere from $5 to $15 depending on the market. Higher grades like MS67 could go for $100 or more. In very rare cases, an MS68 coin might reach $1,000 or slightly higher, but that's the extreme top of the scale. Even then, we're still not even close to $1 million. Where does the myth come from? Much of it comes from misunderstandings about coin values. Sometimes, sellers on online marketplaces list coins for outrageous prices in the hopes of catching an uninformed buyer. For example, someone might list a 1995 D quarter for $1 million on an auction site. But listing a price doesn't mean someone actually paid it. That's like putting a rusty bike on sale for $1 million and claiming it's worth that just because it's listed at that price. Another source of confusion comes from coin errors. Error coins are coins that were misprinted, misstruck, or damaged during the minting process. These errors can sometimes increase a coin's value. Examples include off-center strikes, double dies, clipped planchets, or broad strikes. If a 1995 D quarter has a dramatic, certified error and is in top condition, its value could go up significantly. But even then, we're usually talking hundreds, maybe a few $1,000s, not millions. Let's also talk about grading for a second. Coin grading is the process of determining a coin's condition. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin. Grading is done by professionals who assign a number on a scale from 1 to 70. A coin graded MS70 is flawless under magnification. Coins graded MS65 or higher are considered to be in excellent condition. For a 1995 D quarter to be worth anything close to 4 figures, it would need to be in nearly perfect condition and ideally possess a rare mint error. And those are extremely rare. So if someone tells you that your regular 1995 D quarter is worth $1.3 million, you now know that it's probably a myth. Unless your coin has something truly unique about it, like a rare error and a top-tier grade, then its value is modest at best. That said, coin collecting is not just about value. It's about history, design, personal stories, and the thrill of the hunt. The 1995 D quarter might not make you a millionaire, but it's still a part of America's numismatic story. It represents a moment in time, a piece of the larger puzzle that is U.S. coinage. And if you're a collector, every piece has meaning, whether it's worth 25 cents or $25,000. Before we wrap up, here's a quick checklist for anyone who wants to evaluate their 1995 D quarter. 1. Check the condition. If it's heavily circulated, the value is probably face value. 2. Look for errors. Misstruck or misprinted coins can increase value. 3. Consider getting it graded if it looks pristine. Professional grading can help confirm its value. 4. Compare it to known auction results. See what similar coins have actually sold for. 5. Don't believe the hype without proof. Just because something is online doesn't make it true. And there you have it. the real story behind the 1995 D Washington quarter. It's a coin with historical value, but not a million-dollar treasure. Still, it's always worth checking your change, because you never know what else you might find. Coins with real value are still out there, sometimes hiding in plain sight. If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you don't miss any future uploads. Drop a comment below if you've ever found a rare or interesting coin in your pocket, and let's keep the conversation going. Thanks for watching, and happy collecting. Let me know if you want this version adapted into a script for voiceover with pauses and scene suggestions, or if you'd like a short version for social media. Welcome back to the channel where we explore coins, currency, and the hidden treasures that could be sitting right in your pocket. Today, we're digging into a very specific coin that has been grabbing attention online, the 1987 D Washington quarter dollar. Some say this coin is worth a fortune. Some even claim that a rare version of the 1987 D quarter has sold for an unbelievable $1.4 million. Now that's a headline. But is there any truth to it? Is your 1987 D quarter actually worth millions, or is this just another internet myth? Stick around, because we're going to break it all down, its history, what it's really worth, and where that million-dollar claim comes from. Let's start with the history. The Washington quarter has been in circulation since 1932. It was originally designed to honor George Washington's 200th birthday and was meant to be a one-year commemorative coin. But people loved the design so much that it became a permanent part of U.S. coinage. The design we still see on the obverse, or front, features a portrait of Washington created by sculptor John Flanagan. Now, fast forward to 1987. This was a pretty typical year for the U.S. Mint in terms of quarter production. The coin was struck at multiple mint facilities, including Denver, which is where the D mint mark comes from. That D on your 1987 quarter tells you it was made at the Denver Mint. In total, the Denver Mint produced a massive 655 million Washington quarters in 1987. That number alone gives us a huge clue. This is not a rare coin. With over 500 million struck, the 1987 D quarter is widely available and not hard to find in circulation even today. So then why are people saying it's worth $1.40 million? Let's be clear. There is no official auction, no certified sale, and no expert verification of a 1987 D Washington quarter ever being sold or even valued at $1.4 million. None. Zero. Zilch. This number most likely comes from a misleading online post, a clickbait YouTube video, or an eBay listing that tried to get attention by naming a ridiculous price. Listing a coin for $1.4 million does not mean it's actually worth that. It just means someone wants it to be worth that, and they're hoping someone clicks, buy it now, without knowing any better. It's like listing an old shoe for $1 million. Doesn't mean anyone's going to pay for it. Now let's get to the real value. If you have a 1987 D Washington quarter in circulated condition, meaning it's been used in everyday transactions and has visible signs of wear, its value is, get ready, 25 cents. That's right, face value. Just like it says on the coin. If you've got one in uncirculated condition, meaning it looks brand new and has never been used, then you might have something worth a little more. In mint state grades like MS60 to MS63, these coins can be worth between $1 and $5 depending on demand. In higher grades like MS65 or MS66, you might see values closer to $10 or $15. If you're incredibly lucky and have a pristine, well-struck coin graded MS67 or higher, it could bring $50 to a few $100s at auction. And that's only if it's graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. Now here's where things get interesting. Error coins. Sometimes during the minting process, things go wrong. A die might crack. A planchet might be misaligned. A coin could be struck off-center or even double-struck. These types of errors can make a coin much more valuable, even if it's a common year like 1987. If your 1987 D quarter has a dramatic error, it could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. But those coins are very rare, and they must be authenticated by a professional to be worth serious money. So far, no known 1987 D quarter with a certified error has ever sold for anything even remotely close to $1.4 million. Let's take a quick look at what the top sales for this coin have actually been. The highest graded 1987 D quarters. Those few examples graded MS-67 or MS-68 have occasionally sold for a few $100s, but not much more. For example, auction records show that a PCGS-certified MS-68 1987 D quarter might bring in around $300 to $400 depending on the buyer. That's about as good as it gets for this coin. Not bad if you find one in a roll of change, but definitely not enough to retire on. So, where does that leave us? Let's summarize. 1. The 1987 D Washington quarter is not a rare coin. Over 655 million were made. 2. The average coin in circulated condition is worth only 25 cents. 3. Uncirculated or high-grade versions may bring in a few dollars to a few $100s in rare cases. 4. Error coins can be worth more, but only if the error is significant and the coin is authenticated. And 5. The claim that any 1987 D quarter is worth $1.4 million is simply not true. It's a myth. There is no proof, no records, and no verified sale to support that claim. Don't believe the hype. That said, coin collecting is about more than just the price tag. It's about history. It's about the story behind the coin. It's about preserving a piece of the past. And hey, checking your change can still be fun. Because while your 1987 D quarter probably won't make you rich, you never know what other treasures you might come across. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and share it with your fellow coin collectors or anyone curious about coin values. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos just like this. Drop a comment below and let me know, have you found any rare or valuable coins in your change? I'd love to hear your story. Until next time, keep collecting, stay curious, and always check your pockets. Who knows what hidden gems are waiting to be discovered? Let me know if you'd like this adapted into a shorter version, voiceover format, or with visual scene suggestions for YouTube editing.